Welcome to Zoe Stories. I made my husband a woman. Lately, I've noticed our marriage slipping into a bit of a rut. Don't get me wrong, I love Oliver deeply. He's my best friend, my partner in crime, and my rock. But after 8 years together, our intimate moments have started to feel a bit routine. The fiery passion we once had has mellowed into a comforting warmth, which is wonderful in its own way. But one evening, after an uneventful date night left me yearning for the excitement we once shared, I found myself scrolling through articles on my tablet, hoping to find some inspiration to reignite the spark. That's when I came across an intriguing article about cross-dressing. At first, it took me by surprise. I was startled by the idea of cross-dressing. It seemed to come out of nowhere, completely unlike anything we'd ever discussed. But the more I read, the more intrigued I became. The article explained how cross-dressing could break down barriers, foster deeper understanding between partners, and introduce an exciting new dynamic to the bedroom. The thought of seeing Oliver in an entirely new light was both thrilling and daunting. That night, as I lay in bed, my mind kept returning to the article. I recalled the times I'd noticed Oliver glancing at my lingerie drawer, especially captivated by my pantyhose. I'd always laughed it off as a quirky habit, but now I wondered if there was more to it. Could he have a hidden desire of his own? The next day, I couldn't shake the thought. During my lunch break, I dove into more research about cross-dressing. I read personal stories from couples who had tried it and discovered it had strengthened their relationships. I also found advice on how to broach the topic with your partner in a way that wouldn't make them uncomfortable. By the time when Oliver got home from work, I had a plan. Over a quick pasta dinner, I felt my heart race as I searched for the right moment to bring it up. Keep it casual, I told myself. So, I read something interesting today. I began, trying to sound as relaxed as possible. As I twirled my fork in the spaghetti, I asked, "Have you ever heard of couples experimenting with cross-dressing?" Oliver looked up from his plate, a teasing smile creeping onto his face. "Cross-dressing? You mean like wearing each other's clothes?" I nodded, trying to maintain a casual tone. I kept my tone light. Apparently, it can really spice things up in the bedroom. Some say it helps them understand each other better and can be a lot of fun. He chuckled, shaking his head. "You always find the weirdest stuff online." I laughed with him, but I couldn't ignore the flicker in his eyes. Was it curiosity? Intrigue? It was a subtle sign, but enough to urge me to push a bit more. "I'm not sure," I said, reclining in my chair. "But it could be intriguing. We're always on the lookout for ways to keep things exciting, right?" Oliver shrugged, still smiling. "I guess, but can you actually picture me in a dress?" A grin spread across my face as the image of Oliver in one of my dresses popped into my mind. "Maybe. I think you'd actually look pretty good in one. You've got nice legs." He laughed, a bit more heartily this time. Okay, I'll consider it. But don't expect me to be strutting around in heels anytime soon." We shifted to other topics, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd stumbled upon something important. There was a part of Oliver that seemed intrigued, even if he wasn't ready to admit it. That night, as we lay in bed, I noticed him glancing at my pantyhose draped over the chair. It was a small detail, but it strengthened my suspicion that his curiosity ran deeper than he was letting on. Over the next few days, I continued to drop hints, testing the waters a little more each time. I mentioned how sexy it would be to see him in something silky and how much fun it would be to do his makeup. Each time, he laughed it off, but that flicker in his eyes never completely disappeared. It was like a tiny flame waiting to be fanned into something more. One evening, after Oliver had a particularly stressful day at work, I decided it was time to be a bit more direct. I prepared his favorite dinner, set the table with candles, and poured us both a glass of wine. As we ate, I revisited the topic, this time with more conviction. "Remember our conversation about cross-dressing?" I asked, swirling my wine. "I've been thinking about it a lot, and I really believe it could be something fun for us to try. No pressure, but maybe we could just experiment a little. Oliver sighed, running a hand through his hair. Madison, you're not going to let this go, are you? I smiled as I reached across the table to take his hand. I just think this could be a wonderful way for us to connect more deeply, and who knows, you might even enjoy it. He gazed at me for a long moment, the flicker in his eyes transforming into a steady glow. Finally, he said, "All right, let's give it a try. But only because I love you and trust you." My heart leaped with excitement. "Thank you, Oliver. I promise it'll be worth it." That night, as I lay beside him in bed, a thrill of anticipation washed over me. We were on the verge of something new and exciting, and I couldn't wait to see where this journey would lead us. The next morning, I woke up with a renewed sense of purpose. Today was the day I would begin putting my plan into action, starting as soon as Oliver left for work. With my purse in hand, I set out on a shopping mission. I had a clear vision of what I needed, determined to uncover the perfect pieces to transform Oliver into someone entirely new, if only for one night. After browsing through countless options at a wig boutique, I finally found the perfect one, a shoulder-length wig with soft chestnut curls. I pictured how it would look on Oliver, framing his face and giving him an entirely new persona. Smiling, I added it to my cart and moved on to the next item. I nervously entered the lingerie store, but the friendly sales associate quickly put me at ease. After some browsing, I chose a silky bra and panty set in a delicate shade of lavender. The soft, luxurious fabric was perfect, and I knew it would feel amazing against Oliver's skin. I also discovered a pair of sheer pantyhose that reminded me of the ones Oliver always admired. My final stop was a boutique filled with an array of dresses. After what felt like hours of browsing, I finally found the perfect one, a simple yet elegant black dress with a flattering cut. I knew the dress would beautifully complement Oliver's figure, sophisticated yet playful, exactly what I had in mind. With my purchases in hand, I headed home, excitement bubbling with every step. Once there, I laid everything out on the bed, admiring my selections and envisioning Oliver's reaction. I could barely contain my excitement as I waited for Oliver to come home that evening. When he finally walked through the door, he looked exhausted, his tie askew, and his shoulders heavy from a long, stressful day. I greeted him with a warm smile and a kiss, determined to make the evening special. "Hey, how was your day?" I asked, guiding him toward the kitchen. "I had dinner ready," he said, loosening his tie. "I could really use a way to unwind." A playful smile danced on my lips as I replied, "I think I might have just the thing to help you relax." After dinner, I set to work creating the perfect atmosphere. I dimmed the lights, lit a few candles, and played some soft, relaxing music, filling the room with a warm, inviting glow. I noticed the tension beginning to fade from Oliver's face as he took in the ambience. "Madison, what are you up to?" he asked, a curious glint in his eyes. "Just a little experiment," I replied with a smile. I took his hand and led him to the bedroom, saying, "Trust me, you're going to love this." I sat him down in front of the vanity and gently placed the wig on his head, adjusting it until it was just right. The chestnut curls framed his face beautifully, and I could already see a spark of intrigue in his eyes as the transformation began. "Wow," he said, gazing at his reflection. "I look different." In a good way, I assured him, planting a kiss on his cheek. "Now let's get you into something more comfortable." I handed him the silky bra and panties, watching as he hesitated for a moment before slipping them on. I noticed the initial awkwardness in his movements, so I offered gentle encouragement, helping him adjust the straps and fasten the hooks. "This feels strange," he admitted, looking down at himself. "Strange can be good," I replied with a smile. "Just relax and go with it. You're doing great." I helped him into the pantyhose, smoothing the sheer fabric over his legs with care. It clung beautifully, accentuating his legs in a way that was both elegant and sensual. I could see him starting to relax. The initial awkwardness was giving way to a blossoming confidence. Finally, I handed him the black dress. He slipped on the dress, and I zipped it up for him, stepping back to admire the final look. He looked absolutely stunning, the dress hugging his frame in all the right places. The transformation was complete, and I could see a whirlwind of emotions on his face. "You look amazing," I said, beaming at him. "I meant every word," I said, looking into his eyes. "How do you feel?" "A bit nervous," he admitted, a hint of a smile creeping onto his lips, but also kind of excited. I wrapped my arms around him, resting my head on his shoulder. "That's exactly how you were supposed to feel. This is all about exploring new sides of ourselves and having fun." He smiled down at me, his nerves fading with each passing moment. "You're right, this is kind of exciting. I have an idea," I said, pulling back to meet his gaze. "What if we give you a feminine name for the evening? It might help you get more into character." Oliver raised an eyebrow, but nodded, intrigued. "All right, what name do you have in mind?" I thought for a moment before grinning. "How about Olivia?" "Olivia," he repeated, letting the name roll off his tongue. "I like it." "Perfect. Now, let's practice some feminine gestures and voice tones." I suggested this eagerly, wanting to make the experience as immersive as possible. For the next hour, we playfully experimented with different gestures and voices. I showed Olivia how to walk with a slight sway in her hips, gesture gracefully with her hands, and soften her voice. We laughed throughout, making the entire process light-hearted and fun with every step. I could see Olivia becoming more comfortable, more confident. The role-playing added a whole new dimension to our intimacy. It wasn't just about the clothes, it was about stepping into a different persona and exploring the dynamics between us in a new and exciting way. Olivia's laughter was infectious, her playful spirit revealing a side of Oliver I hadn't seen in ages. As the evening unfolded, our playful practice sessions seamlessly transitioned into more intimate moments. The connection we shared felt deeper and more profound, with a thrilling sense of discovery in every touch and kiss. We dove into uncharted realms of pleasure, our connection deepening with every heartbeat. The night was alive with an intensity that felt unprecedented, as if we had discovered a new layer of intimacy. In those moments, we shed our walls, embracing a raw openness and vulnerability that brought us even closer together. After our intimate evening, I looked at Oliver with fresh eyes, sensing he felt the same shift in our dynamic. As we lay together in the afterglow, our bodies intertwined, we breathed heavily, hearts pounding with the thrill of what we had just shared. I glanced at Olivia, her gaze fixed on the ceiling, a satisfied smile lighting up her face. "That was incredible," she murmured, turning to meet my eyes. I smiled back, gently tucking a stray strand of hair behind her ear. "It really was," I replied. "How do you feel?" "Surprisingly good," she confessed. "I didn't think I'd enjoy it this much." "It was liberating, fun, and intimate in a way I never imagined," she said, and I nodded, fully grasping her sentiment. "I'm so glad you were open to exploring this with me. It's brought us even closer, and I love witnessing this side of you." Olivia's eyes sparkled with newfound confidence as she smiled. "Thank you for encouraging me to step outside my comfort zone." "I believe we should definitely explore this further," she said. I nodded, pulling her closer. "I agree. This is just the beginning of our journey. There's so much more for us to uncover together." Thank you for joining us on another captivating journey through Zoe's stories. Remember to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a tale. Until next time, keep exploring, keep imagining, and keep believing in the magic of storytelling. See you in the next chapter.